Shalom, shalom. Kohalayim La, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Kakadash. This is the History Channel, Indian reservations. Let's see. All right, so the Indian Appropriations Act, as white settlers continue westward. As white settlers continue westward and needed more land, Indian territory shrank, but there was no more land for the government to move them to. And most of us know the story. It says white settlers. So white settlers came over here and took their lands. All right. Who was Esau, Edom? And this is on the history.com. And that goes back to, let me see, what is it? All right, so history.com, that's a so-called credible source. We don't really got to go into breaking that down, but it says, if we go back to it, it says, as white settlers, right? They're not white, they're red. It says, as white settlers continue westward and needed more land, Indian territory shrank, but there was no more land for the government to move them to. In 1851, Congress passed the Indian Appropriations Act, which created the Indian reservation system and provided funds to move Indian tribes onto farming reservations that hopefully keep them under control. Control them. It says Indians were not allowed to leave the reservations without permission. That's that oppression right there. Always oppressing, Jake. But again, that's history.com, and this is their site. So they put out their information on their site. So through the Spirit, I got Psalm 64:8. It says, "So they shall make their own tongue fall upon themselves; all that see them shall flee away." So again, that's their site, and they put out information. So that's their tongue right there. That's figuratively their tongue because it's theirs, all right? They control it. When I say they, I'm talking about the elites, starting from the elites on down to the Joe Schmo Edomites, all right? So then it says, this is Daniel 8:25. It says, and through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. And I'm pretty sure I can find an article about that, but basically, they'll give the so-called Indians, they will seem as if they was trying to make peace with them, but they got them to where they were just staying on the reservations. They try to make it seem like they gave them their own land, which was really a shitty deal. It says, he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And you go back up to it, it says, and through his policy also shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And you go into the word policy is basically regulations, laws, and acts. Congress passed the Indian Appropriations Act. So yeah, it's an act right there. And this man prospered off of this because he got a lot of that's how he got most of his land out of manifest destiny, so-called manifest destiny. And if you go to Micah 2:2, it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. And that's essentially how they did the so-called Indians, which are Jakes. They took them by violence. They saw what they wanted, and they went to go get it by violence. It says, and they take them away. So they oppress a man, and that man is Jake. It says, and his house, even a man and his heritage. All right, and through that, this is Psalms 49:11. It says, their inward thought is that their houses, which means, where they live at, so their lands, shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. So they, they think that they're going to have something to pass down forever. It says they call their lands after their own names. And if we go back to this article right here, this supposed to be credible. So it says the Indian Appropriations Act as white settlers continue westward. All right, white settlers, so-called white settlers. It says they call their lands after their own names. And who is they? Esau, Edom. We don't really got to break it down because we can get it back in this right here. All right. So it says this is Amerigo Vespucci, who's a so-called Italian, but he is also a white face. It says was an Italian merchant, explorer, and navigator from the Republic of Florence, from whose name the term America is derived. So the term America derives from a so-called white man named Amerigo Vespucci. All right. And after they conquered the lands over here, they essentially named the New World. Right here it says, demonstrating to Europeans that the New World, so this is known as the so-called New World to them, all right? And they named it America, deriving from this man right here. All right? So Lord willing, that was edifying. Call her law, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh, Shalom, shalom.